Hello and welcome to From the Mailbag. As we wrap up 2011, there are a number of issues Congress must address before we adjourn for the year. But the key to all of these topics is jobs, 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 and how we can create an environment that will help our job creators and get our economy back on track. We've received a lot of letters. One of those is from Roger from Gasville. And he wrote asking about the Keystone Pipeline and what we're doing to prevent the delay of this project. This is a Canadian pipeline that will carry oil to the United States, and the President recently postponed a decision as to whether or not it could be built until after the election. And there is no reason not to build this. This has been studied for a number of years. Environmentally, it's sound. There are all kinds of pipelines running throughout the United States. The delay hurts businesses, and particularly Arkansas businesses. In Little Rock, we have a firm that will actually be building the pipeline itself. And so this will create tens of thousands of jobs, help to make us more energy dependent. Right now we're dependent on places like Saudi Arabia and Venezuela, people that don't like us very much. But besides the tremendous amount of job creation in building the pipeline, there will be ongoing jobs created by the refinery work once we get the oil, and we will be depending on one of our most trusted allies, Canada, versus, again, these countries that don't like us very much overseas. We'll also be transferring money to Canada, but that money, much of that money will come back to the United States because the Canadians are such great trading partners. So we have a great opportunity to be energy independent when we take North America as a whole. But between ourselves and Canada, working together, then we have the reserves now through the new technologies and doing this in an environmentally sound way. There's tremendous potential for jobs, tremendous potential for us not sending hundreds of billions of dollars overseas anymore, and this would be a great thing. So again, I'm very concerned about this. The Senate is working really hard to push back and say, Mr. President, what are you doing? This makes no sense. The only reason to oppose this is just radical environmentalism. Our unemployment rates are taking a toll on our economy, as is our inability to rein in spending. In legislation passed in August, Congress created what is commonly referred to as the Supercommittee. These were 12 members, and they were tasked to cut the nation's debt by at least $1.2 trillion. Unfortunately, they did not reach an agreement. And I was really optimistic that they would. I thought that in the last minute, and a lot of these things are done at the last minute when you have a deadline, that they would come together and come up with some cuts that both sides would agree to. But they weren't able to do this, and so as a result, we're still going to have $1.2 trillion in cuts. But the way it's going to happen is that the cuts will kick in automatically. Half of those cuts will be to the military and defense, and approximately half to Medicare providers. So we definitely need to cut spending. I'm really concerned about our Medicare providers. Right now it's difficult to find a physician, a provider sometimes that will even accept Medicare now. And so what will the prospects be as we cut reimbursement to them in the future, they and in the hospitals? So we need to get this worked out. We also, I'm really concerned about, these types of cuts to the military. Certainly everybody needs to take a haircut, but even the President's, Secretary of Defense now has come out and said that this cuts would be so massive that it really would, be a national security issue. So I think what's going to happen, again, we will continue to press forward. We're going to have the cuts. We're going to have $1.2 trillion, which is a small step, but it is a step towards solving our problems of spending more than we have. But I think there'll be a real effort to maybe include other things, do some substitutions as we go forward. But the reality is you can't continue to spend 37 cents of every dollar that you are spending being borrowed. That just doesn't work. It doesn't work as a household. It doesn't work as a government. The people of Arkansas are cutting back as individuals. They're cutting back as business people. And so we as a federal government are going to have to do the same thing. Our third and final question comes from Bobby in Mountain Home, who asked about the detainee provision in the National Defense Authorization Act. This is really a good question because there's a lot of misinformation about this, and we are receiving a lot of questions regarding it. The language in the bill is really the current law. In fact, it's much narrower than the current law. And basically what it's saying is that if you're a member of Al-Qaeda and you are plotting, in other words, you're in the process of plotting to wreak havoc on the United States, or you're in the act of committing a plot, then essentially you come into a situation where you will be treated as an enemy combatant and accorded the laws of war versus a criminal court. Again, this is not somebody that criticizes the government or anything like that. Very, very strict. You're given a lawyer. You appear before a judge. The president can overrule the finding and put you back in criminal court. So it's very, very tight, and it just applies to people that literally are at war with the United States to the point of actually being in the process of plotting an event or carrying the event out. And the reason that this is so important is under civil law, you can't ask people about future events. And this is really the key as you question these kind of criminals, and they're actually not criminals in the traditional sense, but they're enemy combatants. What you want to know is what have you been doing, but you also want to know what are you doing in the future. And so going through the military process, then we can do this. And the military process is very fair. Those in military now, that create crimes within the military are tried in military courts. That system works well. The other thing is that this act allows us to keep these people in Guantanamo if we choose. And so this is just an effort to really tighten the current law up, not to expand it, but to put it in code so that we can take people that, as a result of 9/11, regard themselves as at war with the United States and are in the process of plotting or in the process of actually carrying out an act, then we can grab these people up. People like the bomber on the plane, that landed where he was trying to, blow up the plane. To take those people, get them a lawyer, get them to appear before a federal judge. The judge looks at the situation. If he deems that they are enemy combatants, then they go into that realm of court versus the criminal court. And then we can question them about not only what they've done in the past, to get in this situation, but future events and hopefully prevent future acts on our country. So it's really important. I do think there's a tremendous amount of misinformation out there, and hopefully that makes things a little bit clearer. I want to thank you for joining us for this edition of From the Mailbag, and really want to wish you a Merry, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you and your family. To watch past episodes or to subscribe to our e-newsletter, visit our website at www.boozman.senate.gov. Again, happy holidays and Merry Christmas, and get busy making your New Year's resolutions, as I will do. Those usually last for at least a week, but this is a very, very special time of the year. Thank you very much.